Hello buddy, it's Bendominator, and yeah, Chapter 4 has been confirmed to be releasing next season, and while I already made a video covering this topic, it was very fast, it was kind of rambly, and it wasn't really organized, and now that it's been a while, I've kind of had time to organize my thoughts and think about it a little bit more, and give you guys my actual full-on opinions. So yeah, let's just talk about Chapter 4. Of course though, before we get in the video, if you guys do end up enjoying it, be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new, because I make videos like this all the time, and you can also use my supporter creator code Bendominator in the Fortnite item shop #ad. Let's go ahead and get right into the video. So my overall thoughts on Chapter 4 being next season is that I am excited, but also really worried. So the thing that obviously differentiates this chapter release from others is that this is coming only a year after the previous chapter release, that being Chapter 3. And when I say a year, I mean pretty much an exact 365 days after the release of Chapter 3, we are getting Chapter 4. Or at least the finale event for Chapter 3, which will lead into Chapter 4. Or at least we're dubbing it Chapter 4, as that's most likely what it will be called, though there's a chance it could be something else, which I'll touch on a little bit later. But yeah, it is really strange to see that this chapter is wrapping up this soon, and it leaves me a bit worried because it makes me question how they're going to handle chapters moving forward. And the big thing for me here is that chapter releases are huge. They're a big deal, but I feel like with this one coming so soon after the last, it doesn't really feel as prominent. I feel like with each passing chapter release, they haven't felt as big. And especially with Chapter 3's launch, well, it was crazy to see a brand new map after 3 years of having the same map, and we got to see a bunch of new weapons. It still felt pretty much the same. It wasn't as drastic as the change from Chapter 1 to Chapter 2. Like, even the art style didn't really change very much. Things still felt very much in line with the Fortnite we know. And whether or not that will remain the same for Chapter 4, we really have no idea. But if they do kind of keep the same vibe that Fortnite has going on right now, and they don't make too many drastic changes, then I feel like chapter releases are going to start to not feel as exciting anymore. Especially if they do what I'm worried they're going to do, which is yearly chapter releases. And I'm sure everyone watching this video right now kind of is familiar with the idea of yearly game releases. Big franchises like Call of Duty do it. You see games like FIFA, Madden, even Pokemon games pretty much release yearly at this point. Lots of big franchises do this because it makes a ton of money, but the reason they do this is because they're not free to play games. Each copy you buy of a game is going to get you $60, but it also rejuvenates the hype whenever a new game comes around. Even if it's not actually that different from the last one, people still get excited about new Call of Duty games. So while Fortnite is a free-to-play game and they're not going to be making a bunch of money from people spending $60 on the game every year, it could still definitely generate hype for them. But at the same time, if you release a chapter every single year, you're not going to gain the same amount of hype that you used to when you release one every 2 to 3 years. Because the more infrequent these events are, the much bigger they seem. And more importantly, for the consumer, the more time that the developers are able to actually put into said event, like a new chapter release or a new game release. The reason you see games like FIFA and Madden and Pokemon and Call of Duty so stagnant in terms of how much they change in between each release is because these games have to release yearly. There is a big time crunch to get these out the door. So my worry is if that Fortnite is releasing a chapter this soon after the last one, it's not going to be as polished or as new or interesting or as creative as we want it to be because it hasn't had as much time to develop. But again, we don't really know any of this. It's just based off kind of worries that I have, because it kind of makes me wonder, how long have they been working on this next chapter? If they just released Chapter 3 a year ago, when did they start planning for Chapter 4? It had to have been before Chapter 3, right? Because if not, that means Chapter 4 has been in development for less than a year, which is a bit worrying. And it kind of just makes me question, what was their plan for Chapter 3? Why would they plan a whole chapter just for it to only have 4 seasons that, in the grand scheme of things, didn't really amount to much? Yes, we got tons of great new features, such as zero build and mantling and all that kind of stuff, but it seems weird for them to be cutting it this short. So I have a feeling that Chapter 4 is a more recent development, which makes me think that it hasn't been in development for even a year at this point, which does worry me a bit. Again, I don't have any confirmation on that, but just based on what we've seen, I don't really understand why Epic would decide to develop one chapter just to throw it away in a year, unless they were actually planning on doing yearly chapter releases, which, like I said before, is a whole other can of worms. So my big worry is that either A, Chapter 4 is going to be a rushed product due to the fact that it had less than a year to develop, or B, it actually had multiple years to develop, but is only being made to fit a yearly release schedule that Fortnite plans to do in chapters. And both of those options kind of suck in my opinion, and I hope neither of those happen. But if neither of those options happen, then it pretty much just means that Fortnite created Chapter 3 knowing that Chapter 4 was coming, which just, again, really confuses me. Why would you make Chapter 3 only 4 seasons long? Especially because I think Chapter 3 had a lot of potential up until this season. I feel like Chapter 3 was pretty solid, all things considered, until this season, and it seems like they kind of just abruptly started to end it, which again kind of makes me think that this wasn't a decision that they had pre-planned. It feels like something that they came to a few months ago, maybe half a year ago. I really have no idea. Again, this stuff is all just speculation based on kind of thoughts that I've had in my mind, worries and all that kind of stuff. It just seems very odd to me. This whole situation is very odd to me. It raises a lot of questions, it raises a lot of concerns. But despite all that, I am still excited because obviously a big new chapter is a huge thing. It's a huge thing for Fortnite, and I think this Chrome season has pretty much ruined the Chapter 3 map for me, so honestly I'm excited to go to a brand new one. If you asked me if I wanted to go to Chapter 4 last season, then I would have said no because I still really liked the map at that point. But this season has pretty much completely ruined it for me, so at this point I'm kind of glad that we're moving on, and maybe that's what Fortnite wanted. I have no idea. But yeah, overall, I'm really excited to see what we get because a new chapter is still a new chapter, and that's really fantastic. Another thing I speculated on in the last video too is that maybe Creative 2.0 would be releasing along with the new chapter, and that might affect things, but apparently Creative 2.0 actually is going to be releasing in January, so we don't have to worry about Creative 2.0 being like the focal point of Chapter 4, which was a big worry of mine, mostly because Creative I feel like is not in a very stable place at this point, and if Fortnite put all their eggs in the Creative basket, it really wouldn't turn out great for BR. And I think it's important for the longevity of Fortnite for BR and Creative to coexist together instead of one taking over the other. So seeing that Chapter 4 isn't Creative 2.0 focused makes me happy, and I just hope we really see Fortnite put a lot of focus on BR as well as Creative so that we can have both modes coexisting together. And now I'm gonna bring one prospect to the table that might get pretty much everyone watching this video to roll their eyes, but like I said earlier, they never confirmed that this is actually called Chapter 4. All Fortnite said is that Chapter 3 is ending, which technically means, now bear with me here, Chapter 1 could return, but I don't think it's going to, and honestly, I don't want it to, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because it's a possibility technically. And you know what, if Chapter 1 returned in a new remastered way, I think that would be pretty fun, but it would be kind of hard to expand upon Fortnite after that point because again, I think that Chapter 4 is a really good chance for Fortnite to actually break the mold and expand on the BR mode in a way that they just didn't in Chapter 3. Like, I feel like Chapter 3 was great, but it also failed to kind of reinvent the BR formula as we know it, which I feel like is something Fortnite has needed for a while and the BR genre has needed for a while. The issue is, I have no idea how you do that. How would you even reinvent the BR genre to make it different enough, but also same enough so that it's still BR, but still really interesting and new? I don't know, but Fortnite's been creative in the past, so I feel like they could do something here. But yeah, guys, I'm kind of worried, but I'm also very excited for Chapter 4. I'm going to be making a video soon talking about all my hopes for Chapter 4, but for now, that is going to be the end of this video. So yeah, let me know in the comments, are you guys excited for Chapter 4? Are you worried about Chapter 4? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new, because I make videos like this all the time, and I'm going to be making a bunch of content leading up to Chapter 4 and once Chapter 4 actually releases. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.